Attention! The National Weather Service has issued a hurricane warning for the entirety of the National Hockey League. Please stay tuned for further information from the Storm Cellar.
Welcome back to the Storm Cellar. I would say a disappointing loss last night. Not everybody will agree because I know folks always tend to be lenient in the back-to-backs, Ray, but I'm sorry, there's no excuse for last night's second period, which we'll get into later if you ask me. I get fresh legs and all that, and we'll get to it, but it's the fourth game of the year, boys. Just real quick, so from your neck of the woods, right? The Edmonton Oilers, the people that basically everybody, their mom, grandma, sister, dog, and goldfish said are going to be the Cup champs, tied with the Canes, 4 points, except for they've played 6 games instead of 4.
Yeah.
Things not looking good at Edmonton, so that makes me feel good.
Yeah, on the other side of that, though, this coming week, the Calgary Flames are straight fire right now, which is something no one expected. So we got an interesting situation here. The Flames fans are living it up, right? Like anytime you can put the boots to the Oilers and stuff and their fans, I mean, it's a, fait accompli. They just love.
They're second in the West, as our good friend Ted Lasso would say, it's why you play the game.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. It sure is. And the reason why we're here, okay, Brad, you've gone fishing, yeah?
A few times. Yeah.
I've got an analogy for us and for the episode today. All right. So times I've gone out fishing, I'm not a sportsman like that really, but I have gone out, and you'd spend a lot of time out on the lake, the river, or whatever, and it's maybe relaxing, but if you're not catching anything, it can make for a less than trip, right?
Suboptimal, yeah.
And so that's where we were. We're out there fishing. We want people to join us in the Storm Cellar, and we're out there fishing, looking for guests. It wasn't happening. And one last cast before I thought we were going to pull the pin, and we landed the big one. We landed the big. We really want a guest that we have been after for a long, long time, and haven't been able to make it happen, eluding us. This time, we got it. And we are very thankful that we do, because our guest, Kat Whetstone, Kat is a very good beat writer for the Hurricanes. She also takes on the Columbus Blue Jackets and is just an amazing writer. And we'll talk about some of her writing a little bit later in the program. But Kat is with us, and that makes us very, very happy. It is going to be a great episode. Kat, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with the Statler-Waldorf combination of Carolina Hurricane podcasts. So glad to have you aboard. Looking forward to this.
Thank you for having me. I have really been wanting to get on the show for a while. I was actually doing a deep dive last night and listening to like the first 2 or 3 episodes. Ooh. I'm just so glad that this worked out. I am so excited to be here and so excited to be talking all things Canes.
It's going to be great. And so you've listened to the show, you know what we're about. And the Storm Cellar is open to everyone, but we start off every episode with something that we truly believe in. We think of the Caniacs, and hockey fans in general really are the fuel that drive the teams on the ice. Really, and they all have unique stories, how they became fans of certain clubs and so forth. And you have a great story as well. And so we want to turn it over to you. Shine the spotlight on Kat Whetstone. How did she become, well, in the position that you're in, first of all, fan, but you're also beat writer for two clubs, which is amazing. Do you have any time left in your day to do anything?
I mean, I'm also a full-time college student, so
Wow.
I'm fueling myself on hot chocolate and dreams.
There you go. Well, I'm loving that. Well, let's hear your story. Let's hear it all. How did Kat become a Caniac?
Okay, so so I like to call my hockey story a story of fate because I didn't so I was not born into a hockey family. I have friends of who are friends of who have been to Canes games since they were like two or three, and I didn't go to my first game until I was 19. But so I was born in Columbus, Ohio. My mom is an Ohio State alumni, so I grew up on college football, and that was like my first introduction to sports and to what sports mean to the communities around them. Um, Moved to Charlotte when I was about 8 or 9. Um, had the displeasure of becoming a Carolina Panthers fan. So if anybody else is like this, I'm so sorry.
There are a lot of masochists in the in that fandom.
Yeah,
I think
it's rough. I'll go on Ticketmaster and I'll see the 45 cent seats at games, and I just get sad. Hockey was really like not a thing where I was. I loved to be on the ice. I loved watching figure skating. I do own a pair of figure skates and I skate fairly often. Am I good at it? No, but that's not the point here. Um, I was just one of those kids that would just put on skates and just go. Even now, my friends are like they watch me skate and they're like, "We need to put a leash on you. This is actually a problem." All I really knew about hockey growing up, I knew about the Blue Jackets, and I knew about the relationship that they had with the city of Columbus as a whole. I knew about Rick Nash, of who I still love to this day. Um, I knew that the Hurricanes existed when I moved, and like throughout my time there, I just didn't really pay too much attention. It wasn't broadcast on national TV like football is. So like it just really never crossed my brain. They're like, oh, this is actually a thing that has a very large fan base, I learned later on. But so I decided to attend Meredith College, which is NC State's sister school. Brad knows this.
Mm-hmm.
We love Meredith. We do. It is NC State's little partner in crime. That's just right
Nice.
down the road. It's like their little culty partner in crime. Um, and my siblings had also committed to NC State in Chapel Hill. So my parents decided to do a Raleigh trip just to get all three of us like adjusted into the city and see things to do. And one
See
of
what
those
you're getting
things,
into, yeah.
one of those things was a Canes Red Wings game, and it was
Oh,
the
nice.
same year of the Stadium Series. So I remember all the merch was amazing.
Yeah.
I still have that sweatshirt to this day. It is so soft. That was a fun year.
It was.
The Stadium Series really was like my first introduction to hockey.
Wow.
And
That's a heck of an introduction, let me tell you.
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm not sure why, out of all the games we went to, that it was a Red Wings game. I like to joke around that it was that it was my parents' continued way of hating the entire state of Michigan.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Yeah, I can see that. I can
Yeah,
see
they were
that.
like, "Oh, the Red Wings, they were great in the 80s and 90s." And I'm like, "That's true, but also
Yeah.
but also not today."
Wow.
And that game, I remember this very, very vividly. Jordan Martinook went yard.
Awesome.
Jordan Martinook and KK were playing like it was game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Even though it was
Nice.
like a regular season Red Wings game. I had no idea about the storm surge, about our goal horn, about any of the weird things that we do that make us Caniacs, much less the tailgating. And the tailgating won me over like
Oh
right away.
yeah.
I didn't even have two-step foot in that building. I was like, oh, these people know how to tailgate.
Yes.
I'm
That's
sorry
wonderful.
to all of the Southern football fans listening to this episode, but um, Midwestern tailgates are just a different breed, and I have never seen it done quite like that until my first Canes game. And
Awesome.
just having the Canes just do so well in that game, and then they went on that playoff run. Uh, there was just I was just in love, and
Yeah.
that was the beginning of a very fun journey.
That's amazing. You know what? It's so funny. Uh, just you even mentioning the Stadium Series game itself, which I had a chance to get down to there with Brad, meet up with all of the great fans that we talked to in our little community and stuff, do interview. There's something about it. It's intoxicating, really. And, sure, there's a lot of storm brews being put back in a tailgate event and so forth, but it's the vibe that goes with the games, and the event is just second to none. Second to none.
I hope every rink that can have an outdoor, game like the Stadium Series gets one, because every fan, of all the teams deserve it, because there's something about it, and it's very much like a Stanley Cup Finals vibe to it. Even though it's one game, it's a regular season, right? It's 2 points in the standings. It really is something special that everybody should get a chance to do something like that if they can. Obviously, a lot of the Southern teams are going to have some difficulty with it, but even if it's in a way, right? Even if it's get those Florida teams, get the Utah. Well, Utah's actually can be pretty cold, but get those fans even as an away team into those games. Like, stop picking Pittsburgh and New York and Boston and Toronto and Montreal. Like, other fans should get to enjoy this, because the vibe of that game is top shelf.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Ray said, it's electric. There's
Yeah, and
everybody's charged.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited for Columbus to have it this year. I never thought I would see the day. Um, and they're playing at Ohio Stadium, which is a very big deal.
Man, I can't even imagine. That's 100,000
It's a
seats in
gigantic
that.
stadium. I've been in
It's
there for Ohio State games, and it is just second to none. And now that this fan base that has kind of like been the punchline of every NHL joke since they got brought in, and that have had like the worst luck known to man, they finally get a stadium series. and seeing of what happened when the Canes got theirs makes me very, very excited for Columbus. I think that we're going to see a lot of growth come from these Stadium Series games.
Oh yeah, I bet they'll do it upright for sure. There's no question. So you're a Caniac. Who's your guy? Do you have a favorite player all time? And when I say all time, that's from when you started to now. And it's not a very deep, long thing or whatever, but who do you cheer for?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. So currently, on our current roster,
Yeah.
I love Jarvis and Natchez. And Natchez, if you have spent approximately like 2 minutes on my Twitter, you know that I am like the resident Natchez defender of the Canes beat writers. I'm like, it's I'm just there, just going, leave Natchez alone.
Oh, okay.
I'll try and keep myself in check because I think I mentioned to Deb last night on Twitter, and I was like, Natchez is the reason I'm on losartan, which is a blood pressure medicine.
Yeah, that is also true. I love the guy, but like when he has the puck, my heart rate goes up a little bit.
Sure.
But all time, it's got to be Evgeny Kuznetsov.
That's an amazing pick. I like that.
That is an amazing pick.
And like he wasn't on the team for a full season. I don't care. I still love the guy.
Yeah.
My Kuznetsov story is that he got picked up by the Canes from the Caps at last year's deadline, so about March-ish. And he was fresh out of the players assistance program, and I remember a lot of Canes fans were very, very doubtful of the move. I loved it. I loved seeing somebody that was like kind of in the same boat as me come back out on top. And sure enough, like I loved seeing that bird celly. I loved seeing his interviews where he was just like talking about how grateful he was to be in Raleigh, how much he loved the fan base, how much he was grateful that Canes fans had come out right away and we're like, okay, he's on our team. We're going to root for him. So last year for the Rangers series, I think it was game 2 or game 3. It was game 3, I believe. I made a sign that said, Kuzi, Natchez, Jarvie, because those 3 are my favorites. Puck. Just like a simple thing that I got writer's block on. I'm very, very bad when it comes to making signs for games. I can write articles all day, every day. I just can't make a sign just to save my life. And like I held it up at the glass thinking like, okay, it's just going to be like a little red blob. And Kuzi saw it and he spent warm-ups shooting pucks at me.
Nice.
And just kind of like interacting with me during warm-ups and like hitting against the glass,
tapping the boards and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had that feeling too. Spetch and Fishy have done that for me, which was great in Calgary. I loved it.
I was just over the moon. And obviously the Canes lost that game in overtime, which was awful and painful and worst series ever. And I got home and I was like, I'm just going to tweet about this thinking like, oh, it may cheer up 1 or 2 Canes fans that follow me on Twitter. it blew up. It,
Nice.
I was like, I was at work the next day, and it seemed like every five seconds I had a different notification. And when I finally got to just sit down and open up Twitter and see what was going on, it was that this Twitter thread had exploded, and a lot of people really, really resonated with it. I was lucky enough to go on ABC 11 in Raleigh to talk about it.
That's cool.
They were
That's very cool.
they were swept. They weren't swept. They lost game 6, I think it was that same day. So very, very bittersweet day of my Canes fandom, but it was such an amazing thing, and I miss him dearly. I love seeing him thrive back home in the KHL. It is just such a pleasure to still see that bird celly. Kuzi, you were so loved in Raleigh. You still are. If you ever want to come back, I will be the first one in support of that move.
Love it.
Kuzi really is, real quick, Ray.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of players whose maybe impact on the organization as a whole was small, or they were here a short time. Like Kuzi's one of them, but made a huge impact on the fan base. Kuzi's one. Pacioretty, who he played, 3 games?
Yeah.
But is like still well loved, right? Like, it's the little things. It's the fan interactions. Like it's Pacioretty taking that kid ice cream after he dropped his. It's Kuzi doing things like that.
Yeah.
Patrick Marleau is a fan favorite, and he never put on the sweater
reasons.
for reasons. So
David Ayers.
I think that says a lot about the Caniacs, right? Yeah, David, perfect example. But it says something, I think, about the organization, the fans, and the way that we always talk about small market team and the closeness, right? That guys can come in and have a big impact on the whole, even if that isn't necessarily been translated on the ice. And that's, Kuznetsov would be a wonderful addition to any team. I love the fact that he's back in the KHL. I think that's probably where he really felt he needed to be, and is doing fantastic over there. I mean, they had the Kuzi crawl last week, I think, that, somebody had highlights of. It was just beautiful. It's like, yep, just keep doing what you're doing, man.
I was just delighted that he wasn't playing against us. Like that was my first reaction. But then you get a look at him and the stories done on him and stuff like that. And he's a comic, like he was just playing love of the game. There's a vibe that he had. And I mean, it was nice when he said, it'll be nice to have the fans on my side instead of being the hell that we normally. And it's the acknowledgement of what it's like to play in Raleigh. He respected the team, and then to be a part of it all, he understood, why it's a great place to come and play. Kat, that you'd blow my mind with that one. That's a great pick. I really enjoyed having him here, and wish certainly for the battle that he had, in his life personally, and to come through. Awesome. We love to hear that. Okay, so this is going to get weird. I was going to jump in on the article that you wrote now. I'm going to bump that to close out because it was a very important article that you wrote. And I want to just touch on the teams, the games. We want to get some of this stuff in, have a little fun with you here with our Storm report as well. So let's maybe jump to the first 4 games. Kat, there's so much concern from everyone with the players that we lost, the players that were added. There was a bit of a unknown situation for some. what are you feeling after the first 4 games? What do you think? Where are we at?
I'm feeling as if respectfully that we all just need to calm down and touch some grass.
That's great.
We are 4 games in. We are 4 games in. We are an organization that is in transition. This was known pretty much all summer with Waddell leaving and Tulski coming in, which I'm very impressed by what Tulski has done so far. With all of these players walking or in free agency leaving, with the amount of new guys brought in, with our prospect system, like this year, this year was not our cup year, and I think this was expected well ahead of time. So to panic right away, I think is counterproductive. There's a lot, obviously, to be said, both good and bad. But I've been wrong about a lot of things, particularly relating to the Canes. Yes, I have. Sometimes I go back on my old articles and I laugh because I was just so wrong about certain things. Like I thought Natchez was gone. I was like, there's no way that he's going to come back. Then he did. Except for most people, those takes are deep in their Twitter accounts. Mine is just out there and in an article. But yeah, I do think that it's still early. We have 70 something more games to play. I'm a writer. I don't do math.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
That's why I got into broadcasting.
Yes.
There's no math in it. Like that's exactly why I did it, right? So yeah. Brad, 4 games. What jumps out at you?
So let's look at the 4 games, right? You're 2-2. You've played, I think you're tied for the fewest games played league wide, right?
Yeah.
New Jersey's up there sitting top the entire league because they've played 8 games. Like their win percentage is 688. Yours is 500. It's not that different, less than 10 games in, but they've played twice as many games as you. And you beat the pants off of them. Yeah. It says 4-2 was the final score. That was a 4-1 game.
It was.
It really was. You lose to Tampa Bay. And it's Tampa Bay, and I don't know what it is about them, but them and the Hurricanes, we always lose a bad one to Tampa Bay. Always.
Yep.
The boys came out flat. First game of the season. Looked terrible. Whole 9 yards, right? Tampa Bay was running high on emotion with the hurricane and everything. You lose it. It's just what it is. Yeah. Second game's postponed. You come out. You really take it to New Jersey. You beat Pittsburgh going away.
Soundly.
That could have been, NC State versus the Hurricanes. No offense to NC State's hockey team because they're very good, and they would probably also hang in there, right, and lose by 3 like that. But the Pittsburgh was bad, and you really gassed them. However, then you come and face the Blues. You go up by 1, and then you give up just 3 bad goals in the middle. And anybody who is already on Kochekov's case about that, like the first 2 were just complete screens. There's nothing he can do. The defense has to help out there, right? The other 2, you can start talking about those. Like a lot of Canes, he seems to have a slow-going engine. Like Sebastian Aho is another guy who tends to need to get rolling, right? We're not going to bash Aho. He actually has 4 points in 4 games, very quietly, as I recall. So, it's isn't an ideal start. No. Are you the Edmonton Oilers, like we said earlier, who everybody says, these are the cup favorites. There's no way that, that these guys aren't going to win it and being 2-4 in your first 6. You're not that either. So
and
the Kings will be
not
fine.
just 2-4. Like they look terrible.
They look bad. I mean, they look the way I hope and pray that they look.
Like no
You
no
know,
question. There's a lot of
right?
consternation about that.
And you face them on Tuesday. That's your next opponent. So you've beaten the top team in the league, right? You gave them one of their couple of losses. You have a chance to go on this West Coast swing that we get every year because of the state fair, right? And Oilers, Calgary, who's hot. Seattle, if you were to look at the standings, would be second in their division, I think. You know, then you got Vancouver, and then you're home on Halloween against the dreaded Bruins.
Oof.
I don't mean dreaded that they're that good. I just don't like the Bruins.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. They're not quite the team that shall not be named.
And it's Halloween night, which means I am 100% going as a Carolina Hurricanes hockey player for Halloween again this year. I know how much the kids in my neighborhood love it.
Love it. Yeah, exactly.
I get a lot of boos.
Yeah.
You ever been booed randomly by like 10-year-olds walking around your own neighborhood? It's a lot of fun, actually.
In Calgary, actually, I have. The kids like to take a shot when I'm wearing the jerseys and stuff like that.
Man.
They are no filter. One of the things that I've noticed and the vibe that's put out by fans, Brad, and I kind of mentioned this before, but this is just my take. I think that fans who are emotionally tied to the players will, when you lose your favorite player for whatever reason, and they are replaced by others, the world is coming to an end. There's no way that the team can be as good as they were when this guy was on the team or whatever. And we lost some key pieces this year, and all of whom had huge fan love, all of them. And so they kind of just wash out who's coming in, or don't care enough to actually look back and see what you're getting. And that's the case that we see so far, in my opinion. I don't know. And I've said it before, but Brad,
I agree with you, but it's not just the fans. The national media basically were like, the Hurricanes lost Brady Shea and Brett Pesce, and their defense is not going to be good. And if Ghost and Walker haven't played as good as Brady and Shea did last year, I'm not going to talk long term, right? Because let's look at recency bias, to be honest. Shane Gostisbehere, his shot makes me want to cry. It's so pretty. Like he gets the puck on his stick and off his stick so quick. And it's just lethal. And he's got 3 points. I mean, he's got 3 goals. That's not even 3 points. He's got 3 goals in 4 games, right? And a quick shout out, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who is under a ton of pressure. I know Ryan Henkel's mentioned several times, like Jesperi spent a lot of extra work in the offseason, like to get ready to go, has 3 assists in 4 games, right? He's got 0.75 points per game. The only people ahead of him are Aho and Svechnikov. He's doing everything right but goal scoring. And I think he's hit 2 pipes already this year. And if you go back to the playoffs last year, in his last 7 games, he could have like 4 or 5 more goals. He's hit the pipe so many times, he should be a plumber, right? I might start calling him Mario, is how much that dude seems to love working around pipes, because he is just the most snake bit shooter I have seen in a long time. But if he can be what I'm calling stall plus, good 2-way forward that's able to feed his, I don't care if he has 40 points and 50 points in the season and it's 0 goals and 50 assists, I'm totally 50 assists. I'm totally okay with that. He needs to be stall, but he needs to be on a line that's getting points. And if he can do that, and thus far this season he's everything we need. Stop worrying about the fact he was a 3rd overall pick and look at who is he really as a player. And that's who I think he can be. So I'm just glad Burns and Svechnikov seem to be okay. Honestly, after yesterday's game, I'm more worried about that than losing to St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis is a fine team, so.
Kat, you were talking about old articles coming back to bite you. Let's make this perfectly clear. As much as I love KK, I not even 4 or 5 months ago was someone who was suggesting that perhaps KK should be bought out to make space to pick up someone else or whatever. You look at the struggle that he had, and I was thinking in pure business wise, because buying him out before the season would have cost less and freed up more space for us. And then you see him how he's playing, and you realize, Raymond, what are you thinking? You buying him out? Like, why? He's playing great, and he is. But it's just not seeing the points, and it's at some point it was you got to wonder where you're getting your points from, I think. Yeah. And KK has to produce, and that's where the pressure is. I regret saying that he should have been bought out. I'm glad he's still with us, but it's that knife's edge that you as a fan walk a lot, right? Where one boneheaded mistake will make you like, what's this guy doing? Send him to, the AHL, get him off the team, trade him for pucks. And then the other side, when they make a great play, I mean, there's that whole dichotomy there to it. So I'm with you, Kat. I've said things that have not been the way that I actually feel.
I thought I've never been wrong. That sounds awful.
There you go.
There we go.
So we're looking great. And coming up again, Edmonton, Calgary, Seattle, the Vancouver Canucks. This is going to be tough. I'm glad that I'm here for it. Last season, the trip to Western Canada was horrendous, and I was in Barbados, and I told the team, I got a straight line to Mr. Waddell and told him it's my fault. I told Aho,
we agree,
Fishy, I'm sorry. I should have been at least in the country so I could be there to support you guys. Never again. And thankfully this time I'm here, so we can easily expect, 4 more wins straight away, right? Because I'm
reasonable.
Here. Is that I can, I don't mind taking the blame, but I also like to take credit too when it's completely
it's doable. I mean, exactly. You shouldn't expect it, but it's totally doable. I mean,
it is.
If they go 3-1, I'd be super happy with that. I mean, this is a shorter roadie than last year. I feel like by a little bit, couple of games.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
The Calgary game is going to be so interesting.
That's the one I'm thinking of. And I'm thinking of the Vancouver game. Yeah. Those two are going to be some really intense games. Like Edmonton would probably get in like the psyche at least a little bit, going with the whole like you're playing a very angry McDavid.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody wants to do that.
No.
Thankfully,
we have Slavin.
Yes.
I was going to say, we're all looking forward to different games. I'm looking forward to Edmonton for that reason. There's nothing that makes me happier than when I see that Slavin can keep McDavid off the score sheet.
Watching Slavin in that Penguins game was just incredible stuff. Oh my gosh. Just the fact that like Sidney Crosby, bless, he is superhuman. He is 37 and he's still playing that good at 37. He is still an all-star at 37.
Oh yeah.
And watching Slavin just like go up against him so aggressively and without any sort of fear or questioning, just going up and keeping the puck away from Crosby and blocking him and doing all of the things that a great defenseman should do. Just incredible stuff to watch. We are so lucky to have Slavin on this team.
And again, when he puts in performances like that, it makes all of the Hurricane fans shake their head and say, why doesn't he get his props? Where are the flowers for this guy? I mean, and everyone, it's one of those, it feels like the media and whatever national broadcasting are, it's a begrudging compliment that he gets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where, he's not flashy like, Makar or, Yossi. Like he doesn't put up a ton of points. Carlson, all of those offensive guys, everyone loves offense from the D, but they don't understand how locked down he is. Like he is amazing, and he does not get the props that he deserves. Not even close. And I don't understand why, especially when he does what he did against Crosby. See, but then you look at it, the top D line last night, suspect
was not Slavin Burns.
No,
yeah,
that might be Slavin's worst game of the year. I'm telling you, right? Like that might be being his
ever
of this year. He was a -1, even though he had an assist.
Yeah,
and he took a penalty, which is rare for him. That he and Burns, Burns has slowed down a little bit, but for Slavin, that might be the worst we see Jacob Slavin play the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That penalty shocked me. And when I'm watching games, I go into reporter mode and not fan mode, especially when I'm watching from home. If I'm at the arena, then a little bit of a different story sometimes. But if I'm at home and watching it on my computer or something, then I'm just full-blown objective, full-blown reporter. And that, even in that state, I was like, Slavin? A penalty?
Yeah.
In what world?
The officiating was not good. I wasn't going to say anything, but it was less than desirable.
You could say that. Yeah. Hey, let's, Brad, we haven't done this. This is our first one for the year.
Yeah.
We'll do this. We're going to jump into a storm report. And Kat, you've heard the show before, and what we like to do is break our team down into categories, no matter what we're talking about, whether it's players, aspects of the team, whatever you wish to discuss. We break them down into the hurricane category, which they're doing great. The tropical storm, that is like you're either coming up or going down. You're just not quite where, we expect you to be. And then there's the tropical depression, and that's just, dude, you got to pick up your game, or power play. Where are you? Like that sort of thing. So, here's what we'll do, Kat. We'll give you a chance to ruminate on your discussions. Brad, do we want to go from depression up or hurricane down?
Let's go up.
Okay, so tropical depression, Brad. I'm putting you on the spot right now.
For me, easy peasy. The penalty kill started out terrible and has gotten a little better. The power play is at 25%, which in a typical year is that very good. So even though it doesn't look great, they're finding ways to get goals. But the penalty kill is sitting at 83.3%, which isn't terrible, but we have a high expectation, right, for our penalty kill in Carolina. Like Timmy Gleason has a high expectation for how we defend, and 83.3% is just not going to be good enough, right? We were toying at I think, record-setting 90 2 years ago, and 7% doesn't sound like a lot. And in this early in the season, it's really not, but it just looks a little out of whack, right? It's one of those things that they need to get locked in earlier this year than they did last year. And it's so early in the year, no matter what we pick, it's a little nitpicky. because it's only been
is.
4 games. Like, I don't see anything that just is making me like, oh my gosh, I need to go grab a bottle of Excedrin and take a nap and put a heating blanket on me and pretend that life doesn't exist, right? There's nothing that bad. It's only 4 games. But if I have to pick something, the penalty kill needs to get better quickly. That's a foundational piece of Hurricanes hockey.
Cool. Kat, I'll jump in and give you a little bit more time. I'll give mine. And Brad's going to be shocked. You might be shocked. But the reason why I have this selection is because my bar is infinitely high for this particular player. It's someone that I hold in the highest regard because of the nickname that I give him, which is Francis 2.0. I'm putting Aho in the tropical depression part. And it's only because the bar is so high. Yes, he's got 4 points. He's in the game. He's doing well, but there's a couple of spots where I've seen him where he just he has his first goal. It was an empty net, but there's been times where he's been right there to score and it's not happening. He's actually missed a couple of defensive assignments from what I've watched in the game, he's missed that. And that's not Aho at all. He is my favorite 200-foot player in the league. He works so hard and stuff. And when there's things that miss out, passes that aren't quite there, it makes me shake my head. Now, of course, again, so early on, the bar way too high. Probably, I expect like immortal performance from him, and the bar is too high. I know, but I can't get away from it. Aho in a tropical depression unfairly, on my point. I'm admitting it right away. Kat, what player or aspect of the team is in tropical depression mode?
My answer is a very common one. It is one that if you asked me this past spring, I would say the exact same thing. And last fall, ladies and gentlemen, it is once again the Carolina Hurricanes power play.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Rachel Robinson, who also covers the Hurricanes for Offside News, tweeted death, taxes, Hurricanes doing nothing on the power play. That's dead on. That is dead on.
Yep.
Even though we are scoring on the power play now, which is actually a great step forward.
Yep.
It's a little bit crazy to see score sheets and then celebrating after Hurricanes goal and then PPG, because it happens so rarely. The whole point of the power play is to score a goal. Please.
Yeah. Please. Get it done. Get it done,
please.
So you know what I think about the Hurricanes? So the Hurricanes power play is currently 9th in the league, which is not terrible.
No.
But it's not like 41%, which is going to come down, right? Like the league leaders. The Hurricanes power play every year seems to statistically be okay, right? Top 10 in the league or whatever. But it feels like, I think we've all had that one coworker who fails up. You know what I mean? Like they're really not good at the job, but somehow like they're in the right place at the right time, and things just like, like I knocked over a thing and I stacked it back up, and the manager's like, oh, like that looks better. Like it's great. Thanks. I feel like that's our power play. Our power play is not good, but somehow fails upward. And I don't get it. And I'll take it. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I agree. There is room for improvement because it's still too static.
I hear you. That failing upwards. I like that. That's awesome. So we'll move on to the tropical depression, and I'll jump in first. We'll do this reverse, get Kat at the end as well. So look, a tropical depression for me right now. I see KK as a tropical depression, and he is. I don't know that he's moving up or down. I can't say that, but he's right in the middle because while he's not getting all of the points, he is working very hard. Good in the face-off circle, great defensively. He's making good, smart passes. I think he's connecting with Roslovic pretty well. And like with Natchez, same sort of thing. I think that line could really turn into something, but right now they're not performing top level. So I'm putting KK in there, and I'm loving to see that. Brad, your tropical depression. Where are we at?
Uh, I hope Kate says Roslovic because I'm going to pick Marty Natchez. So
There you go.
2/3 of that line.
Yeah.
3 points in 4 games. No qualms there. He's a -1 overall. So he's given up 4 points in those, at even strength. He's always going to be the guy to me that I want him to succeed so bad. It's like, watching my kid or something. Like, I want you to do good. And then you do things that I know we've talked about this like 100 times and you're still doing it and it's starting to really aggravate me. And Marty Natchez is that person for me. And I want you to succeed, but I don't want, like, you have the moves and all, and then you get the puck stolen from you. Or last night he fumbles the puck. I mean, it's a bouncing puck, right? It's going to happen. All of them are going to do it. But because I'm more critical of him and watch him closer, like Marty Natchez fumbles the puck and now it's in the back of our net, right? So Marty Natchez is somebody who I'm not worried about early, but he's somebody who just signed a new contract and wants to get paid big monies, and we need him to step up because last year I thought he was gone. Like, I thought it was going to be, irreconcilable. This is not going to work out. They are going to make it work. I really feel like if he doesn't have a solid year this year, that they will trade him rather than lose him next year.
Yeah, too valuable to lose for nothing, to be sure.
Yeah.
Kat, what do you think? We're not depression mode. We are in the tropical storm mode. Where are you at? What's your selection?
My tropical storm is very similar to both of yours. It is not Roslovic, but it is the KK Roslovic Natchez line.
Yeah.
That works too.
Yeah. I've been thinking about them, is that all 3 of them are great players. All 3 of them can get it done. I've seen people on Twitter call KK Jesperi point per gamey, which I think is hilarious.
That'd be great.
But they are so close to getting it done, and they just kind of like can't right now. And it's still early. This line did not play together during preseason. It was I believe during preseason it was Svechnikov, KK, and Natchez. And then moving Svechnikov up to the first line on opening night is a decision that I've seen a lot of fans question. I've questioned it a little bit. I can see why these 3 players are on a line together. I just want to see more out of that line long term.
Perfect. Great selection. Absolutely reasonable. Brad, I'll let you start. Who's your Hurricane?
So there are 3 names, and I won't spoil it because I want to know what you guys say, but there are 3 players who immediately come to mind that are playing lights out. And I'm going to go with the least known, right? The less obvious choice of the 3. William Carrier. What an addition. Like, my goodness, like he has been, we know how hard Stahl works and Martinook work, and Carrier has fit in dare I say, as well as Nino, who is slightly above Jasper Fast in terms of meshing together. I really feel like Carrier fits that line as well as anybody we've seen play with those two guys. And they are just all over the ice. I mean, absolutely in position, getting sticks in the way, getting bodies in the way, going full tilt. Cannot say enough good things right now about that addition. Smart move, like pro move right there.
Just an amazing pickup. And for the length of time, my goodness. I'm already considering purchasing his jersey. Told you that in Pittsburgh. When we watched games together. Yeah, it is. Look, mine for me is Gostisbehere. This is the power play quarterback that we needed. It's the one that everyone suggested TDA was and he wasn't. He is just that much better. His shot, we've already talked about it, is great. He moves the puck well. Does he sometimes make mistakes defensively? Sure, that happens, and it's one of his things. But he's moving the puck well. 3 goals already. I'm loving it. It's the promise of the point production that we were going to need from the back end. And he is providing it. It's just a great shot, and I'm loving everything about him. The Ghost Bear, love him. He's my Hurricane. Kat, let's close it out.
All right. My Hurricane is... Mine is Svechnikov. I had to think about it for a second because there are several players right now that would qualify. I'm going to go with Svechnikov. I think that last year was also a transition year for him, coming back off of that ACL tear, which is rough to come back from, much less play at that same level and have that kind of aggressive, in your face sort of play that Svechnikov does. He's back. There's no doubt about it. When he finally scored last night, I went, finally. Yeah. He has been so close all year long, and he finally got one. I think that he's going to continue. I think that he's going to continue to be great. I think that we're going to see a lot more out of him this year than we all expect. We're all expecting big performances from KK, from Jarvie, from Aho, from Stahl. Svech has kind of been left out of that greater discussion a little bit. So to see him back doing what he's so known for, that's my Hurricane.
There you go. Beautiful pick. I love doing this section because it comes with different opinions from all over the place. Brad, I know you want to shout out Nadeau and Morrow and the Wolves and so forth. We're running out of time, but make no mistake, the Wolves are exactly what we all thought they would be with the amazing talent that we sent to them.
Yeah. Levin should feel good with Brendan Lemieux and scoring, and Nadeau and Morrow winning him a game against the defending champs last night.
Love it.
It's and somebody else said this earlier today, but just a reminder, like, there is animosity between Wolves fans and Hurricanes fans online at times. Like, there's definitely like some feelings there because we each have our own club we root for, right? The Chicago Wolves admin, the fans are not responsible for Levin's comments. If you want to, it's like when the Hurricanes moved here. Don't be mad at the fans. Be mad at Carmanos. Like, he's the one who moved them. Be mad at him. Just a reiteration. Like, there are some amazing Wolves fans that we've met in person and on the show. Don't take it out on them. I mean, if you don't like the Wolves, you don't like Levin's comments. I don't but take it out on the right people, right? If you want to blow off steam. Trav and Maggie and all those folks are amazing fans. So just keep it in mind. But yeah, we will take a couple extra minutes because I know that you wanted to get to something very important. So
Yeah, real quick though, Brad. I was just gonna ask you, am I gonna have to go to mediation mode again?
I don't
That's how
know.
I
Well, it
got Judge
depends. If they
Wapner,
keep
right?
winning,
But
then no. I mean, winning cures all ill. So if they keep winning, I think Levin will, he'll go back and retract, or he'll sidestep his comments a little bit, right?
yeah,
So as long as they're winning, probably not. But if they start losing again,
maybe
there's,
I have to.
although if they break it, we'll probably do more on Blue Sky than on Twitter. But
True enough.
when in doubt, block. I mean, it's
Exactly
right there. It's the best button on pretty much any social app of any kind ever.
I'm with you, Brad. I'm with you. So we have to touch on this, and it's Kat did a story back in July, an op-ed really, and it involved Patrick Laine, as well as a very important topic, which is mental health involved. Kat, you were incredibly brave to put yourself out there the way you did, and the way you tied it all in together. It was amazing, a poignant, very important story, and I cannot stress enough for people to find that story and read it. We've got about 5 minutes. I'd like you to take a little bit of time and just talk about it, maybe summarize the story, and yeah, help me out, because it was sensational.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot. The story is pinned on my Twitter. I have written several articles since then, but this one I have not unpinned yet. It has gotten way more attention than of what I was expecting it to. So basically, this op-ed that I wrote for Offside News, which is the site that I cover Columbus for, back in July, when Patrick Laine was still in Columbus and in the player assistance program, there was a lot of discourse on trading him that was often more focused on the business side of hockey and not the personal side. And it was too businessy. It was too dehumanizing. And I thought I was going a little bit insane, seeing comments on it, seeing the way that he was being talked about both by larger media outlets, but also by certain sides of fan bases. And so this op-ed, I wrote it. I wrote about his trade. I wrote about how much Columbus loves him, how completely heavy the weight of those expectations on him are, from being the second overall pick behind Austin Matthews in 2016, I believe, 2016-ish, and how hockey and mental health discussions often are really, really dehumanizing and don't give enough consideration to the person. And in that article, I disclosed my own mental health struggles that I still deal with to this day. And it's gotten a lot of attention. I'm still surprised at how much it continues to resonate with people. Yeah, pretty much the whole point, just be human.
Yeah, but the way you put yourself out there, I just like to say it was incredible to read about, because I was reading about my life too. Mental health and the struggles that people have on a daily basis that are hidden that you do everything that you do to hide are there, and people are hurting. And there's ways to approach this to get the help that you need. And Kat, you put yourself out there. I'm doing the same. I've lived what you lived and shared. I've done it myself. I still do it. It's a daily grind, isn't it? I mean, everyone talks about the hockey players talk about the grind of a season and so forth. We're living grinds that are a little bit deeper than that, and just as difficult, right? And more difficult, frankly, in the grand scheme of things. That's why I am encouraging anyone who's tuning in to us, who's listening to this episode, to track you down and find that pinned article and read it. It is masterwork. And there's no other way. There's no other way to describe it. It was absolutely fantastic. Kat, before we wrap up, I want you to let everyone know where you can be found, where that article can be found. Please fill us in, because you're worth following, no question.
Stop. Thank you guys so much. Truly, that means a lot. And thank you, Ray, for being that brave. I appreciate that. It takes a lot of courage to talk about it. You can find me at Kat Whetstone on Twitter, which is KAT_WHETSTONE. You can Google me. I write for Inside the Rink, which is of where everything Hurricanes is at. And then you can find me over at Offside News, which is of where I cover the Blue Jackets and write a lot of research pieces and op-eds.
Love it. Love it. That's where you find her. Everyone, follow her up. This is great. Brad, the fish that we caught, our best yet, is that, I mean, honestly, this was an amazing episode. I so love it. We have a lot of great guests, but you're right there at the top, Kat, and we hope you'll be able to come back and chat some more with us sometime in the future.
Yeah, the door's always open.
My honor and my privilege. I'd love to.
Awesome. Brad, we've covered a lot. Deep topics. We've talked about the Canes and the panics that we're in after just 4 games. Please don't panic, guys. And just give me a couple of wins, right? I want to win in Edmonton and Calgary. Is that too much to ask? I especially want one in Calgary because I'll be in the barn. The barn is a dump, but I'm going to be there loud and proud. Look for me. Hopefully the Canes broadcast camera will scan and see me losing my mind on a victory over the Flames. But we've covered so much, Brad, but there is something missing.
Honorable mention, Hurricane Jackson Blake. 2 goals for the kid in 2 games. I mean, earned second line time last night, right? He and Roslovic got swapped for a little bit. The kids earned it.
No question.
I originally had my bet on Nadeau, but Jackson Blake, kid appears to be the real deal.
Second
took a couple of good shoves and punches last night too.
Yeah,
held his own.
Yeah, he's feisty. He's feisty.
Yeah, getting to see his first practice and cover that as a reporter when they had him do the shootout at his very, very first practice right after he'd gotten brought over in the spring, and he makes it against Kochetkov. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a sign of things to come, the harbinger of good news to come. But Brad, the shout out is great. We're still missing something. Yes, go Canes.
Go Canes.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Ray and I greatly appreciate your support in helping us produce an informative and fun podcast. As always, we'd like to say that we believe hockey is for everyone. Whether you're a Caniac or a bunch of jerks, doesn't matter, as we're just a couple of jerks anyway. We would love to hear your questions, comments, and suggestions. We will do our best to answer anything hockey related. You can reach us via email at stormcellar97@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are at stormcellar97, and on Facebook at facebook.com/stormcellar97.